Alright, we're set up for knurling here, and I know that there are plenty of knurling charts. We have to reduce the diameter of the part to coincide with your pitch of your rollers, and these are pretty close for the 1-inch diameter here. So, you know, we're just going to give it the old college try and see how it turns out. So I'm going to knurl up as close to the chuck as I can, which will probably give me about a three quarters to an inch of knurl here. So, see what happens when you double check. Make sure you put your part in the correct way, because I didn't. Okay, just make sure I still have enough travel there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll give it a shot. Put it in gear. So I'm looking at it and I'm tracking more on this side than that side. So we'll make, without disturbing my wheels, we'll just give it a little bit of a nudge. Just a hair more. Let's give it a little bit of oil. And I know I'm going really slow, but this way I can just check my progress. A toothbrush works really good to brush the chips away and reveal what you're looking at. And we'll just go back and forth over this, and I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing, so I'll come back to this when we're done. Okay, this is what she looks like after it's all cleaned up. It didn't come out too bad. There's the knurls there. Not much double tracking. Everything looked like it came up pretty decent. I just ran a file over it lightly just to knock the points down so it's not poking you in the finger. I cleaned this up just because I had a couple of the jaw marks from clamping down on the brass. There's our counter bore for a magnet, which fits right in there, and what we'll do is we'll JB weld that into place. I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but that is definitely recessed in there. And I don't know how well that shows up there. Maybe you can zoom in a little bit. Oop, come on, focus you. Focus. There's our thread. And there's the knurl. And you can see, if you have it perfectly straight, if you have that knurling tool in there nice and straight, you get a nice crisp end. This isn't cut down. This is right where I stopped. So as long as you get that tracking nice and perfectly square to the work, you'll get a nice end line that won't require you to put in a relief groove or anything like that. So this is the base. Now let's get another piece of stock in here. Clean out the jaws. I'll just clean up some of these chips here. We'll get another piece of stock in here. We'll turn down the mating piece and the thread to fit this, and then we got to drill a set screw in this, and we have to put in a flap on the top. So let's set up for that. I got a piece of stock in there for the top. I just got finished facing off the end here. So we want to turn down a length of 1.5 inches to 1/2 inch diameter. So what I'm going to do, just to get an eyeball mark here, just for a quick reference there. But what I'm gonna do is, you can see the rod here. This is my dial indicator on my carriage. So let me get my turning tool in here. We're going to get the tool posed to the angle that we want. I want a slight angle into the chuck so that way it come up to a shoulder and face out. Looks pretty good. And go for that. And all we're going to do is just gently touch up against the end there. And I'm going to set the indicator here against the carriage and set my 0. So I have basically 2 references to go by. I have my actual dial indicator and I have that mark, so they should kind of go in conjunction with one another. That way if one's off you can kind of catch yourself. Not that you need the dial indicator or anything, it's not a real accurate measurement, but we have it here, so might as well do it. So we have to turn this down to a 1/2 inch diameter for our threading, and so let's get to doing that. Okay, so there's our touch. Now this bar isn't perfectly true, but it doesn't really much matter. So let's take 100 thousandths off here. See how this cut works. We're at 53 thousandths per revolution feet. We'll see how that cuts and see if we want to keep it there. Let's get a little closer here. There's 1 inch. And right there's 1.5 inches. So we're not generating a whole lot of heat. Our surface finish isn't too bad. And so we'll keep it that feed rate and that speed. I could probably push it a little bit more, but you know, I'm not in a rush. So we'll keep doing that and until we get close. Okay, we're a little warm there. Alright, I fed in 480 on my dial, so I'm going to check my mic here and see how much more we got to go. 21 thousandths more to go, so we're pretty damn accurate with the dial. So this last cut, 21 thousandths. Alright, now to clean up that edge, I'm just going to feed in a few more thousandths until I raise it shit. Switch my feed direction. I'm going to feed out. Alright, just take a quick, make sure we're where we need to be. And we're pretty much at 500, or just a teeny bit over. So now, just set this up here. Actually, probably do. All I'm doing right now is breaking that edge. Okay, so I got a chamfer on the end. This thread we only want to be about a 1/2 inch long because the rest of this section here is going to be where the set screw is going to bear on it. So, I mean, like I said, this doesn't need to be perfect. You see how good we are with the 1.5 inch. We're pretty much dead on. So we'll do it right about there, and just make a quick little scribe mark just so I don't lose my spot. So I'm going to take my parting tool here and I'm going to square it up against a jaw. And just get this dial indicator out of the way. So I'm going to move a little bit beyond my mark, because what I want to do is I don't want that thread to end sharply. I want to chamfer it this way. So if I go a little bit beyond that mark, I can poke my nose of my other tool in there at an angle and just chamfer the outside edge. So just a smidgen up. I don't have to go very far for this thread relief with this up. So now I can get different tool in here. And there we go. So a chamfer lead on the front, chamfer on the back. And my threading tool. Just got my threading gauge. We can just double check our angle to our workpiece here, make sure we are correct. Okay, we look pretty good there. Sure, everything's nice and locked down. And we're going to set for 40 threads per inch, which will be on this lathe C, and 3. C3. Okay, I'm going to slow her down a little bit. Okay, we're going to feed in with our compound. Just touched. I'm going to set 0 on the compound there. Okay. So here's 0. And we're going to set 0 on the cross feed just as a reference. And actually for S&Gs, actually get our little dial indicator here. You can set this guy up on here. And that'll just give us another reference point. So you zoom you back in. Get you nice and in there. And go in a couple of thousandths here. And this is just going to be a scratch pass. And now we're just going to, let's see, verify that everything's going the way it should be. Okay, we're nice and then so we'll thread this to west. Okay, we have our threads all threaded and we fit on there nice. No real wiggle. Now I just got to continue this diameter here, this little relief, down to the end, so that way that fits nice and tight inside the bore. Just making sure that I have enough angle on that tool to clear those threads. And then let me slow my feed rate down here. That should be it. Make sure we clear. And we're able to thread all the way up to that shoulder. So we're good. Alright, now that we get everything cut and the threads where we need them, what I need to do is I need to knurl this, which I'm not going to show you because I've already showed it again and it gets pretty boring. So I'm going to knurl this just like the other one for a little over an inch. And then we're going to pot it off a little over an inch. What I basically want to have happen, and this is just an example cut off disc here. This is a piece when I potted off the other one. But what I want is a knurled diameter, and this is going to be our disc on the top that we're going to be able to swing out for to touch our tool to the bottom of. And I want to keep this intact with this piece as I drill the hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to knurl a little bit more than the 1 inch that I want for this top piece, plus the width of the parting tool holder, plus another 1/8 inch. So, and then we're going to pot it off at that distance. So that way this is still attached to this top piece. I can go over to the drill press, drill and tap the hole that I need, then put it back in on the body, screw this into the body, and gently pot it off. That way the holes are perfectly concentric straight through, so I don't have to hold a disc on top of this diameter to try to drill both holes and line them up. This way I get it straight in one shot no matter what. And then once we pot the disc off, I can clean out the 2 holes and then just re-drill the clearance hole for the screw. So I'm going to knurl this diameter off camera and then we'll come back on and I'll show you how we're going to mark it. Okay, so now here's where you adjust your measurements. If you're off on your base a little bit, you got to adjust your measurements on this to be able to fit. Now what I want to do is I want to keep the disc as part of this until I drill the hole through it, but we need to pot this off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out, I'm going to come over 1 inch, I'm going to put a groove to mark it. That's going to be where I'm going to actually part this piece off, and then I'm going to come out again, go over 1/8 of an inch, and then completely part the tool off. Now that ring that's going to be left, that's going to be the top piece that we're going to use to set our tool height. So that way it's still attached to this physical stub here, so when we drill the hole through the top, it's perfectly concentric with both sides. So we come over 1 full inch. I'm about a 1/16 of an inch long on the bottom piece. So this parting tool is 3/32 of an inch wide, so I'm not going to take into account the width of that for this cut, but you know, depending on how accurate you are with the other thing, I just let myself just a little bit extra room to play with in case I needed to. So I'm just taking that into account on this cut. This isn't going to be all the way through. That's it. That's just going to be a mark. Now we're going to come over 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to come over about, let's try 175,000, see how that looks. That's about 200 thousandths. I'm gonna come over. That looks good. So between here. It's a little longer than 1/8 inch. 1/8 inch looked a little too short to my liking, so we just added a little bit. Ready to drill right through. I got my depth and everything marked, and I have my tap drill for an 832 screw in there. Get a little bit of oil. Be plenty for my screw. I'll just put my tap wrench on there and tap it through the rest of the way. We're back over in the lathe now. We're just going to part that disc right off. Go right back in my groove. There's going to be a little bit of a mismatch in the pieces because I didn't turn the outside down before I put the screw in, but it's just cosmetic, and it's actually not that much considering that these are actually two separate pieces of brass chucked up in pretty much two different ways, so, or two different settings on the chuck. So There's the interrupted cut of the capped hole. Okay, so all I'm going to do is take this piece over here on the sander real quick, just knock that down, and then I have a glass plate. I'll just lap both sides, make sure they're nice and flat, and then I'm just going to make that a clearance hole. Got some goop in there, and I used some alcohol and de-greased all this stuff, so just sit that guy right in there. Now the stuff's supposed to set in 5 minutes and harden in 3 hours, so we'll come back in about 5 or 10 minutes and see how it works. Oh, actually, so what this is made up of, or the idea behind this, is you'll set your height. This top piece here, this top disc, can swing out like that. You'll set your center height and then lock it down with this set screw. So I'm going to set this height at 2 1/4 with the scale. So I got this set from here to here to 3 1/4 inches, and I have that set screw locked down. And this 40 threads per inch here makes for a really nice fine adjustment on this. So we're going to put our bar here, and we're going to click our piece there. You can see it actually holds that bar, and we're just going to swing our, so actually you can tell right now this is a little bit above center, which I purposely did. So you can see we're dragging right on the top. So we'll lower that. And a little bit more. Alright, right there we're just starting to catch the edge. You can see we're catching the edge right there. So a little bit down from that. Right there we're just catching. So that's my my height for that tool. You can lock it down and tighten down the other thumb screw. And you can set all your tools like that. It's a neat little tool. Like I said, not too hard to make. You can make it as fancy as you want. This is pretty basic. And you know, have at it. I think something like this, a lot of you guys that are, if you're having trouble with the lantern tool post, something along the lines of this may help you out a lot. And it's just a kind of a little neat thing to make and have in your toolbox. Then when you're done with the top, just close it right up. And there's the magnet at the bottom. And like I said, it's pretty strong magnet. This is a 1" by 3/8 bar, and it's about 9 inches, 9-10 inches long. So, hope you like this project, and we'll see you on the next project.